with Cheryl Lee, that radio chick. I'd like to welcome you to the Green Room. We are at the Mundi Mundi Bash, and I would like to introduce you to Furnace and Digby.
Hi.
From Furnace and the Fundamentals. Now, for those that haven't heard of Furnace of the Fundamentals, I don't know if there's anybody out there who hasn't.
So many.
But would you like to introduce the band to us, Furnace, since it's named after you?
Yeah, sure. We are Furnace and the Fundamentals. We are a party covers band. We do a bunch of mashes. We've turned it into a bit of a show. We dance around. We do a bunch of theatrical, dumb stuff. It's basically Wiggles for adults is how it's been described before. Inflatable dolls, inflatable flamingos, dancing, drumming, sing-alongs, all your favourite music. Just a big party.
And your members? You on vocals?
Yeah.
Digby?
I play guitar and saxophone and occasionally tap and whatever triangle this year.
Triangle.
The whatever the odd thing is, I'm on it.
I've got a very important question. Do you need a tambourine player?
Ooh, I mean, we've always got room for tambourine player. There's always room for tambourine.
Because, you know, I'm very expensive, but I'm good.
As long as you can dance with that tambourine. You are.
Absolutely. And the rest of the band?
So we've got Pluto on keys, we've got Marcus on bass, Tom on the other guitar, rhythm, and Mike on drums.
Alrighty, so my next question is, where did the name come from? So the first part, we know that's you.
Yeah, so I mean, the first part, to give it context, was just a nickname that my brother's friends gave me. You'd have to ask them why. It's probably got something to do with my hair colour.
Skin colour? Oh, hair colour.
Oh, so your real name's not Furnace?
No, my real name's Elliot.
Funnily enough.
Not as good a stage name, Elliot.
No.
The rest of the name is quite boring. It was literally just, we had our first sort of name show coming up, and we had to send them, it was a festival, I think the Denny Ute Muster, and we had to send them a name. And so we were just sending emails back and forth being like, about this name. And
Flash Cat Phoenix.
So many were thrown out there. And we landed on Furnace and the Fundamentals, which felt like the best option when we were running out of time, if I'm being honest.
I believe Marcus said Elliot.
Yeah, that's
which was like, why wouldn't you go with Furnace?
Exactly.
So then that's how we landed on that, and then we thought, look, we'll just change it after the gig when we figure out something better.
Yeah, exactly.
And here we are, still as now it's too late, obviously.
So pretty much eeny, meeny, miny, moe. It could have been anything.
That was the one that we all agreed on.
Yeah.
So that was the main thing. We were all like, yeah, that sounds cool. That's memorable. His name's Furnace.
I tell you what, you don't get any other result in Google, so it's very Googleable. You know, I've seen some band names, it's like you put that into Google and there's a million different things, like Live, Glass, like lots of stuff. Mammoth. Yeah.
Well done, Marketing 101.
There you go, exactly.
Rightio, I'd like to know the origins of the blow-ups.
Oh, okay. So, when we started doing this show, as a covers band, we had to think of ways to make our show more identifiable and different, unique, because it's not our music. So, aside from doing these unique mashups that we would do, we wanted to do something more theatrical and visual, and we wanted to have like a balloon drop, but we didn't want to just do a balloon drop. So we were throwing out ideas. I think some of the ideas were like helium heart balloons for Whitney Houston, so they went up,
Wouldn't it have been for Rubbers in the Air? Oh, yeah.
No, it was for I Will Always Love You. There were all these ideas thrown out. Then I came up with the idea of us selling underwear as merch and thinking about Tom Jones, how women would throw underwear at him. And somehow that got me thinking, oh, you know what could be a bit... I didn't know if anyone would go for it. So what if we dropped like inflatable sex dolls from the sky for It's Raining Men, but not sexual ones, like maybe just like if we can find like a cool, thinking that everyone would go, well, I think it's a bit much. Everyone was like, yeah. I was like, oh, great. And then I ended up being the nervous one when it came to the first time. I was scared that people might be a little offended by it. But then we saw lots of people walking home with like the dolls under their arm, and we're like, okay, this is a thing that we should keep doing. And then it became so popular we could not do the show. So when we sing It's Raining Men on the first chorus, we release the blow-up dolls. It's harder to do here because we don't have a roof, so we kind of just have to chuck them.
Awesome.
I'm now the biggest importer of male sex dolls in Australia.
That is not a joke.
I bet.
How many do you order a year?
500. It's probably 800. Oh, it's 800 every few years. So maybe a bit more like
And when the
300.
delivery comes, the postman goes, "Oh, these are a kinky lot."
Well, they get sent to a warehouse. To a warehouse now, so I don't deal with that anymore.
What's it? It's a bunch of sex dolls. Yeah.
So, how did you likely lads all meet and form a band in the start?
Well, that's an easy question. We're 4 of us were schoolmates, and that's effectively how we started. The original drummer was also one of those schoolmates, and we used to just write songs for each other on our birthdays. It was
Insulting songs.
very insulting.
As boys do.
Exactly, lovingly insulting songs. We all kind of wanted to make use of our skills, if I'm being honest. Like, I wanted to have an excuse to sing, these guys wanted to have an excuse to play guitar, and so it was just kind of us having fun, and we played originals gigs. We started doing the covers thing on the side to sort of make money, and then it kind of took off.
Yeah.
And our current drummer, we used to play gigs with his other band. So that's how we knew him, and when our drummer had a baby, he had to leave, and so we picked this guy up, and our keyboardist we met through our manager.
He was
just
also
needed-
doing original stuff, looking for a money-making thing.
Yeah.
So once he joined, it was like that last piece of the puzzle where you're like, wow, this really opens up these extra sounds that we can now do that we couldn't. We actually used to, some of our first gigs, Elliot would do the keys on a $150 Casio keyboard. And we had this one particular sound called Bright Org, what was it, Bright Org 16? 16?
Oh, yeah.
Just had this very generic organ sound, and we used it for everything. And I don't know how we even got away with people enjoying the show. Seeing how we moved so quickly once we got like a proper keyboardist with proper sounds and we could imitate the songs, it was like, how did people enjoy
How'd
this?
you get away with that?
Yeah.
I can tell you, I'm not good at keyboard. I
You were
certainly
good enough.
wasn't back then. I'm better now. I was bad back then, so it was crazy.
You could play Call Me Out, so that was
Yeah, I
enough.
could do Call Me Out.
Righto, now the songs are amazing. How do you pick the songs for the set list? Because how do you pick out of all of those?
So it's interesting because in the beginning we didn't know what the best way to do it was. So everyone would kind of throw in these ideas. We kind of just try everything until we kind of worked out what was best. And over time, you start seeing that there are certain songs that win every single time. So it's almost like the longer we've done it, the more scrutinizing we've been over what can stay in and what doesn't.
What works, what the crowd loves.
And I think with the internet these days, it's pretty clear, like the top 10 songs for white people. You know, like Journey, Bon Jovi, you know, Sweet Caroline, all that kind of stuff. And that, funnily enough, as funny as it is, it always goes well. And I think Furnace kind of Elliot came up with this kind of structure to how we would do mashups over time that always seemed to work better than the others. We used to kind of go into one song, go back to that song, and you know, there were certain sets that would just work better than others, so we kind of based the next system on that one.
So you've got a bit of a formula now.
Yeah, but I'm always on the side of I don't want to get too formulaic because I'm always scared it's going to get boring. So it's always trying to find that middle ground where all 6, if you can get 6 people to stand there and go, I like this, there's a very good chance that you'll win. It doesn't always. We can spend months on a song that we all love and no one likes it. You know? So,
Okay.
But I think ultimately the audience is our
the measure.
Yeah.
That's how we measure everything.
We still want to have fun, so that's always going to be in the back of our minds. But ultimately, if the crowd doesn't dig it, for what we're doing? I mean, what we need to keep them entertained. We need to keep them on the feet. We don't want them to stop. So
Right, I've got one last quick question. I think the couch might be required, is it?
Yeah.
I just want to know what you guys listen to. You play such a varied and amazing list of different songs, but when you're alone in your car, what do you like?
Look, I mean, it varies a lot for me personally. You know, I kind of, a lot of what we do is music I love. The stuff we don't do that I still love, I used to love ELO, and I find myself coming back to it every now and again and just being like, oh yeah. I've enjoyed I've been getting into Tay-Tay recently.
Isn't everyone?
Yeah, I know.
not me.
Otherwise, I've been listening to, like, I'm getting old. Like, I was listening to the radio reading service that just reads out these news articles, and I'm like, this is interesting. I'm learning, and like So I don't know. I'm changing.
Righto, Digby.
I've gone through various phases of my life. So at the ripe old age of 38, kind of looking for new music all the time. But I'm more like my top bands like Van Halen, The Darkness. But I also really like early 90s hip hop, late 80s hip hop. But I really like Dua Lipa at the moment. She's really fun and really cool. Bruno Mars, I really like his writing and style. But I'm always a sucker for rock music, so if I can find... I'm not so into the super heavy stuff that's really popular at the moment. I like really strong melodies and things like that, so that's why I tend to be into my 80s. 80s is a really easy genre just to kind of pick and go, this is what we like. Because often, even with Elle, even if it's a different genre, there's always a strong melody or hook to it that we latch onto. So we're not really too picky on what the style is. If it sounds good,
Play it.
I think we can all agree as a band that Queen's probably the most likely band that we'd all listen to.
Yeah, Queen is definitely the most universal band globally in our experience.
Yeah.
You can play Queen anywhere and it works.
Yeah.
Whereas most countries have their own little nuances.
Queen's worldwide.
Queen is so
World
universal.
domination.
They know how to stay relevant, that band, let me tell you.
A lot of American stuff doesn't work in the UK, and I'm sure vice versa, but Queen works everywhere.
Yes. Alrighty, well, welcome to the Mundi Mundi Bash.
Thank you for having us.
You're here twice.
We are tonight and
woo.
tomorrow night.
So we shall see you down the front 2 times.
Yes.
Yeah.
Alrighty, thanks for chatting with us.
Thanks for having us.
Have a
Love
great
it.
gig.
Thank you. Thanks, guys.
Yeah.